It's the instructions. Okay, so let's get started. This is a Sag season video. I have not forgotten about those other readings that I was doing with the colors. I just haven't felt compelled enough to continue with that. I don't know. We're not in the orange energy, I guess. Anyway, so this is Sag season. I have the Primordial Tarot, which used to be another name, but I don't remember. And then I have Earth Magic Oracle cards. I just feel like, let's do this now. I mean, like, do I be getting hijacked when I gotta read randomly? I'm watching business stuff. Sagittarius season, even though we're closing up here. It's my North Node season, so you know, there's that. Maybe one more. Two more. Okay, great. Man, all the cards are muted here on here. Okay, all the cards. Okay, so we have High Priestess, Ten of Coins, the Five of Vessels, Fool, and I believe this is the Queen of Coins or whatever. It's 13. Okay. Well, a lot of nakedness, a lot of newborn energy, a lot of growing energy. For some reason, I was watching videos about the birth rates and stuff like that. For some reason, the birth rate may be really interesting for Sag season, or the birth of new things to be really interesting. Cause you get I have a lot of I just feel a renewal type thing. Even though we have this Five of Vessels or whatever, I don't really feel it's out of place. Got the wolf instinct there. This season, I don't think it's about with this Ten of Coins, you're gonna get wealthy. It's it's a paradigm shift, but it's that music. It's addressing an old archetype. It could be an old archetype of success within your family, but an old archetype. This is 5? Oh, this 5 looks weird. Anyway, 5 of Coins. It could be a weird archetype with regards to success, but I think it's some sort of archetype. And it doesn't have to be money, but it's a central archetype. So everyone's family has this central archetype that they're either becoming or reeling against within their family, right? In terms of those cycles. And I'm talking about the idea of the archetype is the energy that you end up taking on. You always know and I think of it in sediment rocks. The different layers, if you go deeper and deeper, rocks shift and change, right? You'll be in one layer and then it'll change to another layer and change to another. It's even if you examine your family, it's that. Each generation is its own layer of sediment and rocks and shit, right? And each layer has its own expression and flavor. And whatever flavor your archetype is, you're either railing against it, it's because it's a collective energy, is what I'm trying to say, right? The collective energy per generation, which is why I think I'm into astrology, and I like the outer planets because they're very generational. I'm really into intense. I'm really intense about this now, and I don't know why, because I'm just I'm fucking tired and I'm doing an application for something. It's just a lot going on, but it's like in my mind I'm seeing like a lot of rocks, like cinnamon, and just like each layer is like different, but each family's generational like layers and shit like that like has an archetype that they collectively, like that generation is this archetype, and either you fall into the archetype or you are reeling against it. And it could be depending on the archetype, like you're either striving to go like up into another like strata, another layer, or you become another layer, or you go down another layer, or you know, it's like it's a weird thing. Like, this is so sad. You got 6 of vessels, and then you got like the 8 of like, I guess this is wands, yes, because the red color is like the spears. So I can tell you this from personal. Each generation in my family has its own like flavor, and the generation that I'm part of, you know, has certain things that we're trying to overcome. And it's like, depending on how like you evolve, you either evolve, and it's not a thing of like, sorry, my leg is itching. You go from like, you're in the 3rd dimension, and then the generation before you or after you was in like the 4th or whatever. It's like you become either the archetypes within another generation by taking on those like habits and shit like that, or like, and it's not exactly like evolving or devolving. It's either one. It's not specific. It's not telling me like, oh, if you are your generation and you evolve into your parents' generation, that, or you devolve, like, it can go either way. Like, if you become like your parents, you're devolving. You could be evolving because there's certain things that you are picking up that are like, you're moving into that archetype. And some people, like, they don't want to be like their parents and stuff like that. But sometimes the archetype is not what you think, because I feel like it's collective energy, right? And either you become that aware and attuned with that energy on that level to like rebel against it or be a part of it. I don't know if you have too much of a choice, but it seems like there is a slight choice of this. So it's kind of almost like you have to figure out the energy within your family. Because I had to figure this out. I was telling my friends some stuff about some generations of my family, and I was just like, yeah, I gotta like fade out, because the archetype is negative. And so I'm making an active choice to rebel against it. I feel like some people may need to do that. So this is also for people who are like really into genealogy and really into like bloodlines and shit like that. And I am. I just like, an aside, it's very fascinating to go on Wikipedia and look at people's like biographies and stuff like that, because this is like the B drop. When you look up people's bloodlines and stuff like that, particularly if they're like publicly accessed, you kind of realize like the people that are in power in general like have always been like, it's just, you just kind of start to realize like who's who and who's connected to who and who's this person, and they're descended from the same person, and then you just wonder why like the system is the same way. Anyway, it's kind of happening on a smaller scale is what I'm feeling like. There's certain connections and shit like that are being made between, it's like if your family is its own economic or class strata, the archetypes are the different layers, right? The archetype of the upper middle class, the archetype of the 1%, the archetype of the lower class, the archetype of like they just abject poverty. Like, that energy is here. That energy is going to pick up. The reason why I think Pluto in Aquarius is about timeline hopping. It also, people talk about like Rage Against the Machine and like the status quo and blah blah blah, blah. But it is like it deals with time. It just deals with timeline hopping, and your own family is is a quiet example of what you're trying to rebel against or become a part of. Pick 3 notes, musical notes, listen to them, tune into them, or look at the do re mi fa so, whatever that scale, whatever musical scale your culture has. Look into that. Assign as many generations as you feel like resonate with that note or whatever, and just start tuning in to that, right? Ooh, energy, yes, I'm feeling it. It feels nice. Ooh, that feels nice. For some people, that's how you're gonna be able to time hop. So this is 14. So this is like the King of Cups or whatever. This is like the highest one in there, I think. Yeah, it's supposed to help you like move. Because everybody, especially millennials, I ain't gonna lie, as a millennials be on the internet just crying about their families and how toxic they are, and Gen Z too, but I feel like millennials be like the most traumatized people on the internet. But there's something about your family line that like you have to explore it, and it may be like 7 generations apart that you like take on that archetype, but like they want to say a lot. And about that Pluto and Aquarius, like I said, I like the outer planets. I don't mind any of the planets that we consider in astrology, or even the asteroids. But I do feel like the outer planets are very helpful for like topics like this, because they deal with generational layers and lessons and timeline hopping, and kind of seeing like, if you want to talk about what I'm explaining here, the Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, like they represent what I'm talking about like a lot. This was at the bottom of the deck, Wolf Instinct. Because you had to find out what it's about. Some of you guys, this is going to be the year you need to figure out what's in your family line. Figure it out. Or it's going to figure you out. But yeah, figure it out. Yeah, figure it out. Because I just feel like you'll just start to plug it in like that. I'm about to get off. Because, yeah. So. Alright. This feels so... This just feels so terrible. Like, I feel like... So shitty. I'm using Carolyn Myers archetype cards. Let's see. So this is for people who I think they're gonna watch this and then like immediately like go to seek with this. Archetype is the Midas or Miser. Child, this is for us. So I guess if we're dealing with poverty consciousness. But we're dealing with elevation and limiting beliefs. That's not what it says in the light attribute, but that's kind of what the Midas are. I mean, you can really boil it down to that. But entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. So let's get 3. So this is one archetype, and you can place that with any generation. Also, the idea of compassion, because I'm like thinking about that with regards to my own family. Compassion would be like very helpful. Mystic, revels in intimate union with the divine. Okay. And then somebody's like parent went studied abroad. Parent or like family member studied abroad. World War II, Spanish flu may be very relevant to someone's family. Somewhere in there. And then like the fall of like some sort of empire. Not necessarily like It may not be an empire that like people talk about in history, like the Russian Empire and shit like that. Like it could be like a small empire in like India, like 300 years ago or something like that. Like something like that. And then we have alchemist, advocate, light attribute, transformation of base motives, and goes into wisdom for the alchemist. And then like the bonus, well, really that was the bonus. This is the real one. Advocate inspires you to put compassion into action. Yeah, that's what I see. We linking up, crazy as fuck. All right, but these are the archetypes that may need to be explored, or each one is in your family, or like one of these is in your family, and then you can go from there. So you know how you be going into like genealogical stuff? It's like that one person set you off on a whole adventure. Like that's how this is supposed to be. Oh my god. Okay, I feel like so. It got to get this message out. Like I don't know, it feels weird. I don't know who needs to pay attention to Greece, Greek, Orthodox chanting may be significant. That's the music that's coming through for some people, or like some sort of like folk music. I remember like listening to this group called Dead Can Dance. I really like them, but they have the group Dead Can Dance, but then their relationship has been like tumultuous over the years. So like at points they've broken up and they've done like two different things. So like the lady, she did the soundtrack for Gladiator also, and was like, that was pretty well received or whatever. Her name is Lisa Gerard, and then his name is like Brandon something or whatever. But they did a few like albums, but one of them Anastasis or something like that, like I think was inspired more like Greek music. Check it out. Whoa, this one came out. Guess what the word is? I'll tell you what the word is. It's hatred. Okay, in the 1980s, child, it was in the 1980s that American journalists first coined the term hate crime to describe okay. It was in the 1980s that American journalists first coined the term hate crime to describe a wave of attacks on people of marginalized groups. In the 1990s, Western Europe experienced a similar outbreak of violence fueled by intolerance and prejudice and introduced its own hate crime legislation. The word hate does not appear in the legislation itself, but it is governments, police spokespeople, and journalists who speak of hate-fueled violence. Some legal scholars say this emotive language is deliberately inflammatory. Get out of here. Making it possible to give tougher sentences. It seems, easier to punish someone for their irrational emotions than for their beliefs. Those who defend the terminology argue that it's the hatred which is toxic and which inflames the desire to humiliate victims, not some reasoned belief. Can you punish an emotion? Is there even an objective measure for it? Hatred may be the focus of legal and philosophical argument, but in the meantime, it has become a byword for all that is contemptible, intolerant, and antisocial in its societies. For some of you guys, the idea of like, I don't know, was there a Greek, like a Greek massacre or something like that happened in history? Between like the late 1800s and 1900s or something like that. If there was, that may be a part of this for someone. Sorry, trigger warning. I don't have to even talk about it, but that may be something that's coming up. Someone may be like Greek ancestry or something, and that's why the Greek is coming up. Anyway, okay, that's it. They said that's it. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.